quite the year for so many businesses, but especially our nonprofits as well, because for so many nonprofits, they really rely on some of their big fundraising events to help bolster their bottom line, and they haven't been able to do a lot of those fundraising events over the past year. But there is a new organization that is starting, Share Detroit, which is focused on trying to help some of these nonprofits. To explain so much more, let's bring in Jeanette Phillips. She's the executive director. Great to have you with us, Jeanette. How are you today?
Hi, Ronnie. I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about Share Detroit.
Tell us more about Share Detroit.
So Share Detroit is a website platform that aggregates. Right now, we have 180 nonprofits from Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County in one place to allow the community to go in and investigate, look around, and decide how they want to do good, whether that means making donations, volunteering. A lot of the nonprofits have Amazon wish lists, so you could just buy items that they need and they'll ship directly to the nonprofit. And of course, everyone has events. Events are slowly coming back, to your point a minute ago. We don't have quite as many events on the site yet, but we're hopeful that that will start to turn around.
This really is brilliant, because I know there are so many nonprofits. It could be hard to try to figure out one that could fit into your own personal, life, and which ones you want to donate or help. So how do you pick and choose which ones get on this platform?
Okay, so we do not pick. Our goal is to have every nonprofit in the Tri-County area on Share Detroit. And as an example, we're new, we're just ramping up, and we're thrilled we already have 180. And in a second, hopefully I can share my screen and show you a little bit about it. But in Omaha, Nebraska, and Charlotte, North Carolina are the two main cities that created this portal, this platform. Share Detroit is one of the larger, most recent cities to come on. But in Omaha, which, I'm from Detroit, right? So I think of Omaha as a small area. They have over 600 nonprofits on their portal.
Wow.
So for me, I'm like, okay, we should be able to get to 500 within 6 months and maybe over 1,000 quickly. There's so many nonprofits in this area that do so much good, and people can't see them because unless you've heard about it from someone else or word of mouth, or maybe it's down the street, you have no idea. So what's so fantastic about Share Detroit is we're aggregating everything in one place rather than quote unquote Googling, I want a tutor near my home. And you just Google tutoring, adult tutoring. It's complicated. It's hit or miss. So here, all the nonprofits are coming together to us to become visible, large and small.
So with that, Jeanette, who is the driving force behind this?
In Michigan, we have, I call him an angel investor, but Paul Vlasic, who is part of the Vlasic family, heard about this from Share Charlotte and just really got it, and got involved in the messaging and the mission of it. We're also a 501c3. So Share Detroit is a nonprofit in its own right. But Paul loved it and wanted to bring it to Detroit. So he and another man named Sam Rosenberg, they're college buddies. Together, they got this going, negotiated and worked with Charlotte and Omaha to make a Detroit portal. And then I came on in January. There are like 5 of us. We're all a little bit part-time, 1 full-time woman, but we're bringing it together. We're bringing it out here to the public now.
So it's just getting underway.
Yes. And so what's really great about coming here onto your show, Ronnie, is the nonprofits know we're here. Like, we're getting great traction with nonprofits, but now we need the community. People that are watching this show, people that hear about the show can tell their friends and family. We need the community to go to the site, look around, think about what they might want to do to help. Maybe make a small $20 donation to a nonprofit that speaks to them. Keep coming back. Keep watching. The whole idea here is to bring traffic to the nonprofit. So this community, this ability, your platform to get to the community is really important to us right now.
And with that, Jeanette, when it comes to the nonprofits, do you and your team do any type of vetting with some of these nonprofits? We know some are better than others.
Well, we try. Here's our little rules. They have to be a 501c3. They have to have a website. They have to have been in business for at least a year. We have 4 pillars on Share Detroit: volunteering, donating, the Amazon wish list, and events. So they have to have at least one pillar for people to visit. And beyond that, we really try to be neutral, try not to, the world is complicated now. And so there may be multiple nonprofits on different sides of an issue. We're here to be kind of Switzerland, bring them all together. The one thing I will say, though, is we do not put churches, schools, and clubs on the website, even if they're 501c3s. Typically, they're not the C3, but they have their own base of following, people. So we're wrestling a little with a school foundation, because it's a little different. We haven't quite settled that yet, but our goal is, like nonprofits that are out in the world doing good.
And there are so many, especially I think throughout the pandemic too, the need was so great for so many of these nonprofits, but at the same time, they were having a hard time because they weren't getting the donations that they used to get. So this really is such a great time to bring all of this together. But what's it been like for you and your team, because you're trying to do this in the middle of a pandemic?
Yeah, so you can tell by my background here, we all work from home. And what's funny is Paul Vlasic and the team, Sam and Paul and a woman named Carly was the original employee, were trying to gain traction on this before COVID. Like they were starting to ramp up and get organized to pull nonprofits together. And then COVID hit and, it disrupted every one of us. So things slowed down. It was still obviously top of mind for all of them, but finally, it was, people are used to the new normal in COVID. They're like, okay, we've got to get this going again. So what was great in my view, in January, the nonprofits were like eager to get into a centralized location to be visible because they had just gone through 9 or 10 months of COVID. And like you said, how do they find support, that sort of thing? So it was weird timing, but good timing in that we could get ramped up quietly, and now it's ready to go. So do you mind if I show you the page for a quick minute?
No, not at all.
Okay, let me just, I'm going to share my screen. Right now we have 180 nonprofits. So when you go to sharedetroit.org, this is the homepage. You can find nonprofits, you can volunteer or shop for good. And then towards the bottom are some of the events that are kind of timely. And I'll just point this out for anyone who says, oh, I wonder if my favorite nonprofit is on the site. And if they're not on the site, this is where they go. Are you a nonprofit? Apply. Boom. And we will help them. But it's pretty straightforward. So if you go to find nonprofits, these are randomized. So every 6 hours or so, the nonprofits that pop on the first page will change because we're trying to, like the Autism Alliance is a big one that people have heard of, I'm sure. Metro Detroit Share may not be, but we randomize this to make sure everyone gets a chance. And you can see these pillars here. are listed. So in the case of Pajama Program, which is in Farmington Hills, if you wanted to volunteer, I'm going to click here. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. Did you move with me?
Yep, you're good.
So it just talks a little bit about the Pajama Program, what they do, and they don't have a wish list, so it says that, but what they need is conduct a drive or lead a fundraiser. So this is kind of the way this works. And then I'll just say, I'm going to go back to the homepage for a second. We're going to find nonprofits there, and over here are filters. So if they want to help seniors in education, we just click on seniors here. And these are all of the nonprofits who have said they help seniors. They self-select. So you can see here it tells you which categories they support. Forgotten Harvest, here we are. Friendship House, One Girl Revolution. This is one that maybe is smaller, no one's heard of, but there's so many nonprofits that do such fantastic work. And the web, what I love about it is the website is so clean and straightforward. So I'm just going to show you one more thing and I'll stop sharing. But I clicked on the Senior Alliance box and it goes to the same page we just saw for Pajama Program. And they have 2 volunteer opportunities, and they don't have any events coming up at this time, but if they had events, they would be shown here as well. So it's so simple. And, again, Shop for Good, these are the Amazon wish lists. So everybody you'll see here, 93 nonprofits, need things that you can just order from Amazon. And if you click the link, you'll go out to the Amazon website and say, oh, I want to buy markers for Life Builders. Okay, great, let's go. So it's just easy, clean, and again, so important to help these 180, I'm going to stop sharing now, 180 nonprofits. And we have like 60 more in the bubble that are in the process of applying, right? So every week we're adding them. But as I said earlier, we need the community now to come and look around and learn and help. Good.
I'm sending it right now to my twin sister. She's the co-founder of the Sweet Dreams Project. They do fantasy bedrooms for kids that are chronically or terminally ill. With that, though, when we're looking at the events, how do you keep up to date with the events? Is it up to the nonprofit to go in and add events and take it out?
Yes. So we, part of our little team here is to, keep up with them and tell them that they need to keep their page fresh, add volunteer opportunities, add events. Think about, we have a woman on the team now who's focused on group events. So we can engage with churches or corporate community groups, corporate people to do larger volunteer events. So each nonprofit has control over their page. They really, the onus is on them to keep it current. Don't just set it up and walk away. Our job is to try to build the community base to come visit. Their job is to make sure that their page is timely, right? So people do get inspired and do get engaged. Add photos, add events, talk about your volunteer needs. And hopefully people will also donate.
Absolutely. Especially as we come out of the pandemic and life starts to get back to normal, and some of these nonprofits, a lot of them still aren't doing in-person big events.
Right.
Because, they take months and months to plan. So they didn't know what was going to be happening right now. So, they've canceled a lot of them. And so donations are so deserved, but also, volunteers. There are so many ways that you can help. And this is such a good program. Hey, Jeanette, how did you get involved in this?
So the job before this job, I worked for a nonprofit in Detroit called Mercy Education Project. And we help women and girls, women get their GEDs and tutor girls in the Detroit public schools. So I connected with Carly Moore, our full-time staffer, to join the Share Detroit platform a year and a half ago. And we struck up kind of a nice, professional friendship. And I would give her my thoughts, my advice. I've been around in nonprofits for a long time, and Carly was new and young. So she reached out to me. I left MEP in October, so it was just kind of serendipity that we kept talking. She was looking for me. They're ready to start adding these nonprofits, and I wasn't at MEP. And nicely, they let her know. Here's Jeanette's personal email, and they're like, "You're available. Talk to me." So it worked out great for me. I love it. I love supporting this.
Yeah, see how
we're helping everyone.
Yeah, and that timing that comes together, right? So it's perfect timing. With that, Jeanette, too, are you just surprised when you see all these nonprofits? And a lot of them started just with 1, 2, 3 people when they recognized a need.
Right, exactly. And there's a nonprofit. I'll do a quick story. There's one. It's in Northville, Living and Learning Enrichment Center, and the founder is a woman whose son has autism, and she was like, she could see that he was, not getting the socialization with other kids and all kinds of things as he was growing up. And then in middle school and high school, it just like everything stops. So she formed Living and Learning Enrichment Center to answer the need of teens and young adults for socialization, vocational job training, bringing them together in friendship. So that started with one woman in a library in Farmington Hills, the Farmington Public Library. She was a teacher. She dropped everything, focused on living and learning, and now is helping hundreds and hundreds of people with autism and with disabilities too, out in Northville, 8 Mile and Griswold. So yeah, it happens, and it it percolates up. And our hope at Share Detroit is to allow the community to see more people like Rochelle and allow other nonprofits to grow and really expand.
Because it can be really hard for some of these smaller nonprofits because they don't have a big budget to hire a PR firm or to do some of that, social media networking as well. Because some of these nonprofits too, the people that are involved also are working maybe full time or, taking care of their family. So it can be a challenge. This is a great way to get your message out.
Yeah, exactly. And the volunteer, you'll see in the volunteer opportunities if you look again, or I hope everybody listening looks again, but they have requests, social media help, photography, videography. It can be things you can kind of do remote rather than going in and packing food boxes, right? There's all the gamut of volunteer opportunities, and they do need the help. They definitely do, the small ones especially.
So with that, Jeanette, can it be hard some days, though, to talk to, some of the founders or workers from these nonprofits? Because some of them, get started out of heartbreaking situations.
Oh, yes. And so there's one example. It's called Kevin's Song. And so the founders are parents, husband and wife, whose son committed suicide. And that's out in Grosse Pointe, but they're focused on trying to help other families not go through that, how to recognize warning signs, how to bring people together. So even though it's heartbreaking to hear sometimes these founding stories, they're doing such great work. And it's so important for, some people need the support, right? So also on the nonprofits, I'm so focused on how we can help the nonprofits, but all the nonprofits are there to help us. Their goal is to help different aspects of the community. So Kevin's Song is there to help people who may be going through that or worried that their child or husband or wife is thinking things like that. So it's another way to help the community, see what's out there, what resources are available. And I'm glad you asked that question because that's important too, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And, you know, we see that, I know there is a lady in Detroit whose son was murdered, and she started a group, Mothers of Murdered Children, and for them, they lean on one another. Like,
Right.
you know, for her, it's part of her healing process, but for other mothers that are going through it, it really is that resource of bringing everyone together so that we can heal as one community as well. And sadly, it's through heartbreak so many times. Jeanette Phillips with us again, Executive Director for Share Detroit. Jeanette, just another minute or two before we say goodbye. Anything else maybe I didn't ask that you want to add?
I want to just say out loud again that we need the community to come to Share Detroit, take some time, you know, and when I say that, I mean 5 minutes. Just scroll through, take a look, see what's there, how you might be able to help. I know Detroit is a beautiful city, this metro area, because we all want to help and we all understand we have to do the work. It doesn't happen by other people. We don't have that kind of a community. We know we have to dig in and get it done. So what we're trying to do at Share Detroit is get it done by bringing it together and then allowing the community to help. And again, some person in the community may find a resource that they never knew existed, which also could be, you know, is beautiful. So spread the word is all. That's my hope now. Is I need everyone to understand sharedetroit.org. Let me go check. You know, that kind of thing.
Well, we wish you the best of luck and continued success with this. It's a great platform to try to get all these nonprofits the help that they need. But also, you know, coming out of COVID, Tyler, too, so many people, we've been depressed. You know, people are suffering from mental health issues. This is a good way to get back involved and get engaged in your community, because when you're feeling isolated and alone, when you go volunteer and help, your troubles don't seem so big, you know. So this is a win-win, Jeanette.
Exactly. Thank you.